Hey guys, I'm Charlie. I'm the chef at Basic Kitchen downtown here in Charleston, and today I'm going to be cooking a fermented honey tofu stir fry using this beautiful Apis mercantile fermented garlic honey. So we're going to start off just by getting a few little bits prepped, and we're going to do our marinade. So first off, I'm going to take some of the larger chunks of the fermented garlic, which is in the top of the honey here, and just dice them up a little bit smaller. This honey is great for plant-based cooking because it really brings out some umami flavors. It's got a nice little bit of funk to it. So it really adds a bit of depth to your everyday tofu dishes. I always find when working with tofu, you want to kind of impart as much flavor as you can into it before you cook it. So I'm just gonna really quickly dice some of this up, and then we're just gonna throw this into, this is about 3 cups of tamari. And then after the garlic, I'm just gonna try and get in a little bit more of that honey there, just because that's gonna give our sauce the beautiful sticky consistency when it reduces down. And then we're gonna add to that a little bit of ginger. I'm gonna add a little bit of serrano pepper as well. Some people take the seeds out, some people leave them in. I'm gonna take them out just because sometimes the heat intensity is just a little bit too much. You don't want to overpower, you know, the funkiness and the, like I say, the umami from that fermented garlic honey. You want to try and make it as fine as you can, but we're not going to be winning awards for our knife cuts. It's all about the flavor. And then we've got about a 1/4 cup of rice wine vinegar, and that's going to really give it a little bit of depth of flavor. And now we're on to our tofu. So this is just an extra firm block of tofu. Often you can press this and it gives it a bit more of a meatier texture. I find if you don't press it and you just roll with it, it soaks up the flavor a little bit better. So I'm just gonna cut this into chunks, and we're gonna get that all mixed in with our spices. And we're gonna try and rush this on along. If you do have time, you can get this in the marinade and sit it overnight, and that way the tofu is gonna really absorb all that flavor. So in our stir fry, we're also gonna have some lovely carrots, some red bell pepper that I've already prepped up, and some bean sprouts. You can't really have a stir fry if you don't have bean sprouts. Right, now that our pan is nice and hot, I was preheating it, sneaky. Now that it's nice and hot, we are just gonna throw the tofu in with the marinade, and that's just gonna reduce the sauce down a little bit and really bring out all those flavors from the honey, from the garlic that's in there, and the serrano and ginger. So we're just gonna throw that in there. And this way you can get a little bit of color onto your tofu as well. I'm gonna crank that heat right up and get that reducing. Especially when the honey starts to caramelize in there with the tofu. It just brings a nice little more depth of flavor to the dish. Now I am going to just prep just a little bit of yellow onion. Again, this is to build a little bit more flavor in the dish. The golden rule to every stir fry is you want to get that pan hot. So we're going to let that heat up for about a minute or 2. And then we're going to add in our oil. You can use any neutral oil. I find using like olive oil. I'm a big fan of rapeseed oil. That's very British of me. And you want it so it's almost smoking. Okay, and while that's heating up and lifting all that flavor off the pan, we're just gonna drain our noodles. Okay, and now that that is ripping hot, we're gonna throw our onion in. Some of our veggies that we've pre-cut. And I always like my stir-fry veggies to still have a little bit of juice to them, a little bit al dente, so just before they're ready. I'm going to throw in some bean sprouts, and these are just mung bean sprouts. Now that this is almost there, we're just going to grab our noodles, throw some of those in, and then we're going to go right back in with all that marinade. You just want to get that sauce right up to its heating point. There we go, and then as that's reducing, we're just going to take some out, get some of the larger pieces of tofu in there, and there we have it. Just a lovely little Apis mercantile fermented garlic honey tofu stir fry.